Hello, my name is Yu Hui Song, and in this presentation, I will analyze key macroeconomic policies and market forces shaping the Australian economy in 2026. I will also evaluate their direct implication for Aussie home loans performance and strategies. The Australian government's 2026 tax cuts are expected to increase household disposable income. When people have more money after tax, they tend to spend more, which increases consumption, one of the key components of aggregate demand. As a result, aggregate demand shifts to the right from 81 to 82. In the short run, businesses respond to this increased demand by producing more goods and services, which leads to higher real GDP. An increase from Y to Y as shown in the graphs. At the same time, firms have more workers, reducing unemployment. However, this increase in demand also creates upward pressure on prices, leading to inflation. So, while tax cuts stimulate economic growth in the short term, they also introduce inflation pressures that need to be managed carefully. In the short run, the increase in aggregate demand leads to higher up to unemployment for the housing market. This means more people are willing and able to take out home loans due to increased income and confidence for forcing home loans. This translates into higher demand for mortgages and increased lending activity. However, in the long run, the situation changes. As demand continued to rise, wages and production costs begin to increase. This causes the short-run aggregates have to shift left, reducing output back to its potential level. The main lasting effect is higher overall price level, forcing a decrease mixed outcome. Where there is a short-term boost in loan demand and revenues, rising inflation can lead to higher interest rates over time. Higher rates reduce housing affordability, which may decrease borrowing demand and slow business growth. Since COVID-19, inflation in Australia has been driven by several key factors. First, global supply chain disruption increased the cost of goods and services. Second, government stimulus measures boosted consumer spending, creating strong demand in the economy. Additionally, labor shortages pushed wages higher, increasing business costs. Energy and commodity prices also rose significantly, further contributing to inflation. Another important factor is pent-up demand after lockdowns ended. Consumers spent more rapidly than supply could keep up with. And the global inflation trends have also impacted Australia as higher international prices feed into domestic markets. Together, these factors have created intense inflation pressure. To control inflation, the Reserve Bank of Australia has increased interest rates. Higher interest rates make borrowing more expensive, which reduces consumer spending and business investment. As a result, aggregate demand shifts to the left. This helps to reduce inflation over time, but it also slows economic growth. real GDP increases at a slow rate, and businesses may reduce hiring or even cut jobs, leading to higher unemployment. Falling home loans, rising interest rates have a direct impact. Demand for new mortgages declines as borrowing becomes more expensive. Excess borrowers may also face higher repayment costs, increasing financial stress. Additionally, refinancing activity tends to decrease, reducing another source of business. Higher rates generally put pressure on lending volumes and profitability. Tariffs increase the cost of imported goods and services. In a supply and demand framework, this shift the supply curve to the left, leading to higher prices and lower quantities traded. Domestic projects benefit because they face less competition from foreign firms. Governments also gain revenues from tariffs. However, consumers lose because they have to pay higher prices and foreign produce lose access to the market. If Vienna home loans were to expand into the U.S. market, tariffs or trade barriers could reduce its competitiveness. Higher costs or regulated barriers would make it harder to compete with domestic providers. This could limit growth opportunities and reduce capability in international markets. Behavioral economics shows that consumers do not always make fully rational decisions. Understanding this can help Phoenix design better products and marketing strategies. One example is default buys. When customers are given a pre-selected option, they are more likely to stick with it. Ascena can use this by designing default local packages and align with both customers' needs and business goals, increasing uptake rates. Another example is the framing effect, the way information is presented influences decision. For instance, pricing alone as a low-month repayment rather than focusing on the interest rate can make it more appealing to customers. These insights can help improve customer engagement, increase conversions, and make more effective business decisions that reflect real-world consumer behavior rather than build theoretical models. Overall, macroeconomic policy and behavioral insights directly influence lending demand, risk, and growth opportunities. Understanding these forces positions in home loans to respond strictly in a changing economic environment.